Sammy is a race car. He only has one speed. He's only meant to go fast, and he's only meant to go wide open. And that's just Sammy.
The guy he just goes. It's all gas, no brake.
You know, there's certain things that just can't be taught and coached, and he's got them.
Sammy, my brother.
Sammy.
Hi, my name is Sammy Siooh. I'm the first one to achieve $2 million sales at Wichita Furniture and Mattress. Let me tell you some personal struggles that I went through to achieve this goal.
Sammy's going to be able to share a story, but his story is just incredible. I mean, it's an incredible human story about everything that he's been able to overcome, and also how he persevered and how he leaned on his faith, and he worked through it, but he was patient. And through that patience, it finally all came together for him. And in the 1 year where he didn't have the distractions and he didn't have the little speed bumps that he had to get over, he writes $2.1 million in sales, which has never been done in the history of our company in 32 years. And so it's the things that he does outside of work that are most impressive to me.
So I am from Nigeria. Nigeria is divided into two different religions. We have the Muslims and the Christians. I am from the Christian side. With the Christian side, we have a lot of poverty in the area. My father left when I was 6 months old. So for the first 13 years of my life, I was basically with my mother and I grew up as a child without shoes. Sometimes I would tell you there were no food. I was very, very angry. That times I was hungry. There was no father figure of my life. I mean, I had uncles. It was intense for me. It made the situation was horrible. We depended on God, and I think those are some things that kind of helped me be a strong person at that time. If not without those factors, I don't know what I would have done.
Sammy went through some extreme hardships to get to where he is today, and Sammy leaned on his faith, and Sammy continued to stay the course.
Well, I came to the States in 1994. The process of getting to the States was very, very difficult. We were robbed the night before, about 5 a.m. in the morning on our way to the embassy. But I remember the first day that I arrived in this country. It was something completely different, of course. It was a culture change, a culture shock. It was crazy. I could not believe how people were living compared to where I came from.
Sammy's been through so much. I mean, his life story is incredible, and I think the amount of effort he's had to put into things outside of sales have really reflected on his drive inside our four walls.
Then I had to start at high school, and that was the most difficult part because I had to assimilate to the culture. I remember being in school, things that was called monkeys, that was called different derogatory words that I don't even want to mention. And sometimes it's the African Americans that will call me those names. And that's even sometimes will hurt a little deeper because here you are, you think you assimilate with somebody that is black, but they're the one that will bully you more than the actual white, Caucasian people. That was very, very difficult because where do you belong when that happens? Where do you belong? That happens. I've learned a lot of lessons from then, and just trying to assimilate, trying to adapt to people. I think all those things are still why I'm here today, because with those, trying so hard to adapt to those different cultures, I think it's helped me to where people are able to accept me for who I am. Difficult names that I would go home, cry to my mother. My mother would advise me, hey, it's a new culture. You don't have no choice. Stop crying about it, do something about it. I'm very, very passionate about what I do, and also I'm motivated. But the one thing that sets me apart is my competitive ability. Competition drives me to be number one for every single thing that I do.
He gets out there, he gets the job done, and it's just like I said, try texting Sammy anything. You won't hear back from him until his day off. He's just that busy.
We were hiring a lot of salespeople, and it just kind of been one of those weeks where I just met a lot of people, and what we try to do, our philosophy is we hire for attitude and we train the skill. And we found a lot of people that were really skilled, but just the attitudes just weren't quite there for what we were looking for. And it was towards the end of the week, and then I met Sammy. And Sammy walks in, and he's got on his 3-piece suit, and he's got on his polished shoes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where'd this guy come from? And so we sit down at an interview, and I think we talked for probably 45 minutes before we ever even got to the interview process. And I knew at that time, I said, okay, I'm gonna go through the process, interview this guy. This guy's hired, he's so hired. But just the first impression was he just lit up the room. And I talked to so many people that week, and I just knew that this guy was something special within the first 5 minutes that I met him.
What I've learned from Sammy is that you just go into every single day, and you've got to have that commitment to be excellent, no matter what.
The effect he has on his peers on a day is, man, I'm gonna win today. Oh, nope, there goes Sammy. I think that sometimes it's a battle for second place, but on a real note, anytime you're surrounded by that kind of, I don't even wanna say talent, but drive and hustle and grind, it is contagious. It is very contagious. And I think that with a lot of these young sales guys and girls that I bring in, they see that work ethic and they think, man, I want that drive. And so it's been great to see.
He's killing it again in sales. And so he goes back home to, I believe, meet his wife, if I understand correctly, and literally gets stuck there, gets stranded in a foreign country, and between their government and our government, he was literally stuck there.
My first time going back home was 2016. My intention of going back home was to get married. And then the day that I was supposed to leave, I discovered that my passport was stolen. Now that day was a difficult day because all the struggles and different things that I had to go through.
He's calling me every day, worried about his job, and I'm laughing going, this guy's my brother. I was like, dude, you're fine. you figure out how to get back. And he couldn't get home. He could not get back.
How was I going to get back to my family, my kids, my daughter, my son, my brother, my sister? Here I am stuck in a foreign land. Mind you, I've been in America longer than I was in Nigeria. It took me a long time, a long process. Now, the day that I saw my daughter, the day I was able to hug my daughter, hug my son, that was one of the happiest days of my life.
And then went through the same exact struggle with his wife, where, in that same process, could not get his wife back.
So after I'm back in the United States, mind you, my wife is still back in Nigeria. It was a difficult period in my life. Eventually, it took 3 years to where she was able to come back to this country. Imagine being away from your wife after freshly getting married for 3 years, and then have to kind of start all over again, trying to get to know each other.
So this goes on for, I want to say, 1.5 years, where he's fighting this process. So he gets back, he can't get his wife back. Finally, his wife gets to come back, and she's here. And then that journey started at about the beginning of this year. We had a full year of no distractions. I had a full year. But the amazing thing is, in spite of all of that, you'd never know. Every day, the guy's positive. Every day, the guy's out there loving on people. And here he is stuck. Just, his wife is stranded in a foreign country. He was stuck away from his children for a long period of time. And the guy comes back, and it's like nothing. I mean, he just has overcome so much. And there's not a lot of people that I even know that I respect more than Sammy. I love the guy. That's my dude.
The company has been amazing. They've been amazing when it comes to me achieving this $2 million goal. They've been with me through thick and thin over the years, and I appreciate them so much. This company has been amazing through this process. The rewards, the incentives, so many different things that I've been able to achieve. I just know I'm in awe. I don't know what to say. By hitting that $2 million, I was able to buy a house, and Wichita Furniture can even help me furnish the rest of my house, and I'm so grateful for that.
It was down to the last 2 weeks of the year, and he'd already done $2 million, and he was reaching out to me and Scott Henderson, who's our district sales manager, and he was saying, man, I'm going for 2.1. We're like, that's $100,000 in 10 days, Sammy. And guess what? He hit it. I mean, he was right there. So, and as soon as he got done with the end of the year, he reaches out to us and says, hey, I'm going to be your first $3 million writer. And Sammy is going to do anything within our company that he sets his mind to. I have no doubt. I'm not going to bet against him.
What I see myself doing between 5 to 10 years with this company, probably still in the sales, obviously challenging myself. $2 million is not enough. Maybe double that, do $4 million. And God's grace, if I have a management, it's all in God's hands. But I hope I'm still in this company within the next 10 years is what I pray for.
Sammy, you know that I'm proud of you. You might not know exactly, how much I appreciate you.
Extremely proud of you, Sammy. That's something that I never did with this company. It's above and beyond, and we knew it was coming one day. And I think all the good players and anyone in management, if we wouldn't even have to see a list of names really and say, who's going to be the first person to hit that $2 million, I think we all would have said, Sammy's got the best chance to hit that $2 million.
This is such a huge accomplishment. This is bigger to me even than a sales number. I've only been able to oversee you and that organization now for 2 years, but to watch you work and hustle and grind and stretch for every last dollar has been inspiring to me, buddy. I love you like a brother. I know that 2.1 million is just a start for you. Like I said earlier, the sky really is the limit. You deserve everything you get, and as much as it pains for me to say this, go Chiefs.